Labeling someone serves absolutely no purpose whatsoever other than to just categorize a person and then move about your day and back into your labeled existence. Uh Labels are no fun. I don't like any label. I don't like being labeled anything. Religious, Christian, black, white, male, female, gay, straight, obnoxious, annoying, stupid. I don't like those things at all. It just feels like we're test subjects in a laboratory, a simulation, gigantic laboratory. That's a simulation of our quote unquote, day to day life tags, and it's kind of like annoying. It's like pestering, and it constantly keeps happening more and more now, especially on the internet. But I don't even go on the internet. I don't even look into social media nonsense anymore anyway. So I really don't have any idea about what's really going on in the damn. I have no idea what's really going on in the melting pot of degeneracy. But yeah, labels are pretty weird. And it's not really necessary for anything because none of this really matters. And not in like a depressing, oh, I hate my life type of thing, but more of like we literally made these things up so we can justify existence and living and having a purpose. And a lot of people label other people these titles that were just made just to find a definition of someone who does something that's abnormal from the herd. And it's very depressing and sad how that works, but at the same time, if that's how it is, then that's just how it is. Things like black, white, that doesn't even matter to me. That's just titles that we all just gave titles in humanity. We just all give ourselves, we're just that smart enough and capable enough as a species to worthlessly categorize every single thing as something made up, some definition. And it really doesn't even matter at all. So that means none of these restrictions matter at all. I should be able to wear what I want. I should be able to wear pink. I should be able to wear My Little Pony jackets. I should be able to watch, I don't know, Barbie without being called gay. Or, yeah, I shouldn't be watching that without being called gay or weird for doing it. Because at the end of the day, it's just a show. Even though it's marketed for girls, or pink is usually, everything marketed, everything's like a product now. Everything is being sold as something. Nothing is really organic anymore. Everything is just in the marketplace for consumption. I don't really care if I'm called anything at this point in my life for doing something that's outside of the box, the norm of being a man. That's uncommon, that's unorthodox. Being called black and white, black or white. Just names, dude. It don't matter. We just humans. There's each human that's biologically different from another human, but we're still feature wise and biologically wise. We are still the same. It doesn't even make any sense to me. But that's just me. Being so aware of things just kind of makes everything seem X-ray vision. Like you see through everything, all the bullshit. You see through it all. Nothing is really makes sense anymore. But at the same time, it does make sense. Everything has a categorization. And yeah. Whoever's being called, if you don't believe in God or you're not religious, you're called an atheist. If you believe in God, you're called a Christian. If you're a YouTuber who talks about pushing, the propaganda, you're an apologist. They're just whole words. Like character archetypes. Archetypes, man. It's just the whole 9 yards of all of that is just redundant. When you look at the bigger picture of everything, it's just all redundant. None of these words I'm saying even have definitions to it. I might feel dumb for not knowing a certain word, but someone just made that word just by thinking of it a little bit and being like, aha, there it is. That's what I'm going to call that now. Is that in the sky? That's gravity. Those are stars in the sky. That's the sky. Water. It's kind of fascinating how we came up with these words, but that's just how it is. Human beings, we just evolved to be able to do that. Yeah. Labels are pointless because we can pretty much redefine everything if we want to. And it won't even matter because this is how we identify what they represent to us rather than what it represents as a society. So when people do things for the validation of other people, it's just kind of sad, kind of pathetic, because any of these things can get switched around and become something else, be named something else. Yeah. Labels. There's a lot of them. But that don't mean you have to follow what those definitions of those labels are. You can make your own rules to these societal distractions that don't even equate to anything beneficial. Calling me a loser, okay, I'm a loser, but what does that really mean? Well, by definition, a loser is, in their definition, a loser is a term that labels someone as being a bum and not contributing to the standard of how things are supposed to be in society. You're not getting a job, you're not benefiting society, whatever that means. Because I can guarantee you, society wouldn't even care about. I'm just a speck in the amount of other people who are quote unquote benefiting for society. I'm nothing more than a speck. I don't even matter in their eyes. I don't exist. I'm not even in the records like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, doesn't even matter. It's very pointless. Everything is pointless. So you gotta just make it into your own stuff and go your own lane with everything. Against everything, Humans are our own worst enemies a lot of times. More than nature can be. More than an animal. More than nature. We can be our own benefactor and tormentor. Even make words like conversation and talking and ranting, they're just nothing. I could say things how I want to say it and word it how I want to word it, but because of how everybody was programmed, people would make it seem like I'm just rambling like nonsense. But it's not nonsense from my perspective, because it's coming out of my mouth and I'm thinking of these things before I say it. And so, to me, I have the gift of gab, but to them, I sound like an idiot. But hey, it's what it is. I'm a loser because I don't do whatever people are supposed to do. I'm not fitting in. I'm not saying the words that they're saying. I'm not having the conversations about the topics that they're talking about. Because topics is just stuff to distract ourselves from the bigger picture of the meaninglessness of our existence. I don't see no positivity in none of this really. It's more negatives nowadays than ever before. And it's kind of scary. But people don't want to ask the bigger questions. They kind of are comfortable being in labels